What's up guys, my name is Ace, and Season 5 for Modern Warfare 3 is coming next week, and yesterday we got the blog post outlining all of the content we can expect to see for this update, and today I wanted to go over all of those details when it comes to 6v6 multiplayer. And diving right into it, let's start it off with our 6v6 maps. Unfortunately, this season we're only getting 2 brand new 6v6 maps, and both of these are coming at the launch of the season, so no mid-season map as far as we're aware. The first one is called Bait, and this is a medium-sized map. It is quite a linear-looking map, and it looks like there's going to be at least one small area where swimming is available on this. But in general, with this one, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far layout-wise. But then for our second map, we have Yard, and this is a small-size map, and it does look to be very small. And with this one, you may notice immediately, it's cel-shaded, so it's got a very unique style to it that none of the other base maps in the game have, although we're going to be seeing some variant maps come up that I'll talk about in just a second. But with this one, it looks like a lot of it is going to hinge around that center crane feature, which you can see in the overhead layout as well. That's right in the middle of the map. And it seems like much of the action will be taking place out in the open. It doesn't seem like there's much in the way of overhead cover outside of that center feature and then one little building that you can access as well. So it seems like aerial streaks are going to be very effective on this one. Personally, I'm not loving the looks of this one just because I don't like maps that are so small that there's really not much room to use your brain. And it's mainly just mindless, chaotic action. But at the same time, I acknowledge that the community really tends to like these style of maps, and I'm definitely open to at least giving it a shot. But there we go, those are the only 2 brand new 6v6 maps we're getting this season, which honestly, I am pretty disappointed to see. They've been very inconsistent with our map content. Early on in this game's lifecycle, we had amazing map counts for the seasons, especially Season 3. We had 6 maps added to the game, 5 of which were brand new, and 1 of which was a remade map. And this time around, we're only getting 2 maps that aren't already in the game, and then we're getting 3 reskinned maps that are from existing maps that we already have access to in Modern Warfare 3. So I personally find this a bit disappointing just to see the inconsistency here. I guess there is that argument that you want as many post-launch maps early on in the game's lifecycle as possible, so you have a longer period of time with those maps. But then when you do that, it does make it a little harder to be excited for a new season when you're only getting 2 maps out of that. In either case, let's talk about those 3 variant maps that I just mentioned, and all of these are just cel-shaded versions of our small maps. So we have a cel-shaded version of Shipment, which is also daytime, and I think that's great. As much as I dislike Shipment, I really dislike Shipment at night when it's hard to see things, and I would much rather be playing it in daytime. But then on top of that, we also have a cel-shaded version of Rust, and a cel-shaded version of Stash House called Ink House. And honestly, I kind of like the style. I think this is interesting, but at the end of the day, it's just a visual thing, and it's a change to something that's already in the game. So it's not like these are brand new maps for us to learn and master. They're the same maps that we've already got with a totally different aesthetic, which at the end of the day doesn't really add a whole lot of replayability, at least for me. But next up, let's move on to our game modes that we're going to be seeing for Season 5, and the first one ties in with their WWE crossover. This one's called Slam Deathmatch, and with this one, it's regular team deathmatch, but when you kill players, you don't actually kill them, you just down them, and then you have to finish them off with a finishing move, and it's going to select a random WWE finishing move for you when playing this mode. After that though, we also have the arcade mode coming back with some adjustments here. The first thing is there's 2 new abilities that arrive, so players can now ground slam and deal damage to enemy players. And there's also a force field, which is a defensive ability, and it's going to be a big transparent bubble surrounding the player that defends them against incoming bullets, but it can be damaged and destroyed. And then on top of this, there's going to be 5 new power weapons in this mode. We have the Sledgehammer, the Minigun, the Moors, the Tear Pistol, and the Push Dagger Melee. And all of these have very unique characteristics to this mode, so they're not just going to perform like their regular versions in the regular game. Now after that, we have the COD Warrior mode, which is going to be a series of mini-games. So every time you hop in, you're going to get a randomized mini-game to play, and each of these mini-games will last between 30 to 90 seconds, and it's a round-based thing. The first to 5 wins in these mini-games will win the match overall. And here's a list of the mini-games. I'm not going to read through every single one of them, but a few highlights here. There's one called Bullet Time, which will last for 60 seconds, and you have to test your reflexes against extremely low velocity weapons, so those bullets are going to be flying really slowly through the air, so you have plenty of time to dodge them. Then there's one called Last Ninja Standing, where it's throwing stars only, but you have increased movement speed and jump height. And then there's another one called Fragged, where everybody gets unlimited frag grenades, but those are the only weapons you have available to you. And there's many more. I'm sure this will appeal to a lot of players. They'll be really interested in just messing around, trying something totally different. But for me, I can't say I'm really interested in this at all. I like playing regular Call of Duty where I'm running around and shooting people, and this is just way too different for my liking. Now, on top of those game modes, we also have a bunch of mid-season modes coming. The first one is Fishfection, which is a twist on Infected, where survivors will only have the compound bow and the spear, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, and the infected players will apparently be fish operators. Then after that, we have Paintball, and with this one, it's going to take place on small maps in modes like Capture the Flag and Kill Confirmed, and players will have increased movement abilities, but all bullet impacts are replaced with paint splatters, and also every weapon is going to be a one-shot kill. And then finally, for new game modes, we're going to have Diffuser Destroy, which is a twist on Search and Destroy, and the twist here is the mode starts with one of the bombs already planted, so the clock's ticking immediately when it comes to that one. And there we go. That is going to wrap it up for new game modes to expect with Season 5. Next, for brand new equipment, we're going to be getting an EMP in the tactical slot, and this will deactivate enemy electronics and disrupt enemy sensors for a short time. This also means for any enemies that get hit by the EMP grenade, it will temporarily impact their heads-up display, and I'm definitely glad to see EMP return. And now let's get into the new weapons we'll be seeing with Season 5, and the first one is an SMG called the Static HV, and this will be one of the Battle Pass weapons, so it's coming right at the beginning of the season, and this one apparently has a high rate of fire and a significant ammo capacity with a base of 50 rounds in its factory magazine. Then when it comes to the other Battle Pass weapon, so again, this is right at the launch of the season, we have the STG, and this appears to be a modernized version of the STG-44. And with this one, they basically just describe it as being a hard-hitting, accurate assault rifle with nice iron sights. And those are the only two weapons we're getting right at the beginning of the season. And then mid-season, we're getting the spear, which isn't a regular melee weapon. This is a throwable spear. And with this, you will spawn in each time with 3 spears, and they can be picked up after you throw them. And then they also mention they have rapid piercing strikes in close quarter, so it appears you can use it as a melee weapon, or you can just throw them. But then finally, for new weapons with Season 5, we've got the Torque 35, which is a compound bow, and this one's actually going to be unlocked through a weekly challenge on week 5, apparently, of Season 5. And with this one, you'll spawn in with 20 retrievable arrows, and it also has a red dot attached to it, and you'll have the ability to either fire quickly from the hip, so you can get really rapid shots off, but you're going to have a very slow velocity with that, or you can pull it all the way back to increase the strength and velocity with each shot fired, and that's obviously going to take longer to set that up, which I really like how they're handling that, at least on paper. We'll have to see how it actually plays once we get it in our hands, but then they also mention you'll have various ammunition options, including arrowheads with thermite, explosive, and gas cartridges, just like we see with the crossbow. Although one thing I forgot to mention is this is actually going to be in the launcher category, so it's a secondary weapon. And there we go, that is going to wrap it up for all the brand new weapons we'll be seeing for Season 5. Now let's talk about the aftermarket parts, and we're going to be seeing 6 of these throughout the season. The first one is the Jack Widemouth barrel for the MWIII sniper rifle, and this looks like it's going to be turning the MWIIIs into a shotgun, and it kind of looks like a blunderbuss. Then after that, we have the Jack Slash, which is actually an underbarrel grip that's also a combat knife, and therefore it replaces your melee attack with a lethal slash. After that, we have the Jack Proteon for the RAL MG, and this is a conversion kit that turns the RAL into an adaptable prototype weapon with a telescoping barrel, so you can swap between full auto and semi-auto fire, offering suppressive fire and precision in the same weapon. Next, for the RPK, we've got the Jack Cataclysm, and with this one, it's a 50 cal conversion kit with a drum mag on the RPK. Then we have the Jack Devastators, which is just the Reclaimer 18 shotgun, dual wielded. And then finally, we have the Jack Death March for the BAL 27 assault rifle. And this one replaces the standard ammo with high voltage power cells and a barrel with a photonic scatter barrel. So it fires a spread of lethal laser blasts that take down enemies at short range, and it sounds like that's actually going to be a shotgun conversion. And there we go, that is going to wrap it up for all of the playable content that we're getting for multiplayer in Season 5 of Modern Warfare 3. And overall, when it comes to my thoughts on this, I've got to say I'm a little underwhelmed by this particular season. As somebody that just likes playing the core Call of Duty experience, just regular 6v6 game modes, there just doesn't appear to be much that they're offering with this season that's designed to push the general gameplay experience forward. We're only getting 2 maps this season, which really isn't much, especially when you consider one of those is one of those tiny style maps that I'm personally not that interested in. For weapons, sure, we're getting a standard amount of weapons, and I've got no complaints as far as the number of weapons we're getting here. And we are getting the EMP Grenade, but that's pretty much it. Unless you're interested in playing mini games or playing side modes that play very different from the standard Call of Duty experience, I find this season to be quite underwhelming, and I'm not seeing much here to improve the overall replayability of the game or the quality of the core gameplay experience. Now, of course, this is just talking about the content. We still have to wait to see the patch notes, which will be coming likely the day of or the day before the update goes live. But honestly, I was just hoping for a little bit more, either more maps this season or just something new and different that fundamentally improves or changes the gameplay in some way. Like, the one big thing I've really been holding out hope for since the beta of this game is the Specialist Strike package. So instead of earning your kill streak or score streak rewards, have the ability to earn more perks as you go on a streak in the same life. That was such a core part of the original Modern Warfare 3. It was one of the things I loved most about the original Modern Warfare 3. And it's something we haven't seen for several years now, and I was really hoping they'd bring it to this game. And that's the type of thing that would add a ton of replayability and a ton of excitement to the game. But it looks like at this point, we're not going to be seeing that with Modern Warfare 3, and I just find that to be a bit disappointing. Now, of course, these are just my thoughts, and of course, I'm still going to be playing Season 5, still going to engage with the content that they are offering. I just don't see much of a hook this season to really get me grinding again. But of course, these are just my thoughts, and I'd love to hear from you guys in those comments down below. How are you feeling about Season 5 based on what we know so far? Are you generally excited for Season 5, or are you like me and maybe you're a little underwhelmed? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.